All right, so I'm ready to put my handle on. This is it right here. So I'm going to put it over this blemish, like we said, right there. So I have that facing me. So in general, the handle, if you look at the handle, it is, this end is just not usable, right? Because that's where you're holding. So in general, I just slice that off without even thinking about it. Bloop, gone. And then I have to think about how do I want the handle to attach, or what is the angle that it wants to come in. So what do you mean by that, John? So like this one here, right, comes up. See how it comes up out of the cup and then back down? This one here comes more just straight out of the cup, right? So those are basically the two. I like up and over, so that's what we're going to do. Right, and if you look at the anatomy of how it looks when it's attached, right? So this one's kind of a mix. Well, this one really comes straight out, but it kind of fakes it that it's up and over, right? Does that make sense? So let's do an up and over one. So the up and over one, and then you got to think about where you're going to attach it. Like, what do you mean? So do you want to attach it kind of low, right? Like here. Oop, we can't even see the whole thing, so we got to orient ourselves back this way. So here, do you want it kind of low, right? So let's do it in a way how you guys could see it, right? So I could have it kind of low. I could have it at the, so that's probably too low, right? That kind of looks kind of weird. I could have it at the waist as the other natural part, or I could have it at the rim, right? That makes sense? Or I could have it at the waist and have it come up and over, right? Ooh, I got to figure out a way to hold this so you guys, so up and over. Ooh, that's looking pretty good. What do you guys think of that? Like the waist. So kind of figure that out, move it around, right? And think about where you want to do it. The one type of handle I kind of have a hard time with personally is when the handle gets above the rim. It's because when you wash your dishes, right, you set your dishes down a lot of times upside down on things. And if your handle goes higher than the rim, it ends up, let's say, pretend, and then your hand and your cup is like that, like suspended in the air a little bit, and it's like wobbly, and that's just a personal thing. But if you don't care, have it go up above the rim if you want. It won't change your grade or anything. So this thing is coming in like that. I'm thinking I'm attaching it to the waist, but you see how the way it's attaching is really awkward. I got to do something to address how that handle is going to attach to the cup. So what do? Let's put this on. I'm going to get a banding wheel and do that because it's easier for you guys to see and easier for me to work. So here, banding wheel on here. And it's just easier for me to see and work and show you guys what I'm doing. So here, that's the spot. So here, handle. So you see how that handle isn't attaching really well. So I need to eyeball what this surface is doing and have that attach better, right? And I want it to come up and over. So what I want to do is make a cut on this handle so that it will interface with that surface better. So you see how I'm putting a line there? Oop, that's not where I want it though. That's probably more where I want it. I'll draw a line on there. And you see if I cut the handle at that line, it will fit flush against that pot at the angle I want it to come out at. Does everybody see that? So how do I cut that angle? So I have that angle cut. I have that angle ready. So let's go this way now. So I have that angle ready. I support it under I support it. See how I'm supporting it with my finger like that? And then I could use a fettling knife. Let's use a fettling knife for this. I can do this any number of ways. I could try to use the needle tool and just make the cut, but I can use a fettling knife, which is this, which there are tons over there. I wet the fettling knife in water. The water helps it slide through the clay as it's cutting without too much friction. And you can see how I'm lining up that knife with that thing. I'm supporting it here, and I just kind of try to rock it through the clay. Like that, and then I try to make that a super clean cut. It often doesn't look great, but it looks okay, and at least it's close to that angle. You see that? That little bit of clay gets recycled. I bring my pot back here, and then what I want to do here is kind of prep it a little bit more. I got to find that place where it's going. So here. Now also you'll notice that what I'm going to do here is this is a round surface. I know we've talked about this. You see how it curls, it goes that way, but this surface is straight, right? You see that? So I want to dent this inward a little bit. And I could, if the handle's really wet, I could just hold it on each side and create an indentation. So you see how I just created a dip there? That dip hopefully matches the way this curves. So let's just see on the rim so we can see. Oh, you see that? John did a great job. Awesome. So now I'm ready to attach. So I need 2 pieces of clay for this. And I plop my 2 pieces of clay down. And the reason why I'm just going to do this on my bending. The reason why we do it this way is so that it doesn't roll away. Like this thing wants to roll away. And I like it vertical, like horizontal like this, so I can attach the handle right there and come over like that. So these 2 pieces of clay need to be on either side to keep it from rolling away. So here we'll put that back in the right place. There. So here I have these 2 pieces of clay go bloop, 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 underneath. So now it won't go anywhere. That's where I want to attach it. This is my handle. It's prepped, ready to go. What I want to do is I want to bring my water over. I'm going to dip the end of the handle in water so it's wet. You see that? Put that down there. And then let's back this away a little bit too close. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this wet surface here to stamp onto the clay. Why is that? You'll see in a second. Just lightly push it against and then pull it off. You'll be able to see that there's a wet spot exactly where the handle's going to go. And that's the place that I score. So I don't end up over scoring all over the place. Score, 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 score. And then score, 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 score. You see that? How I just scored it. And then I just add some water to that with my finger. So I'm going to dip my finger into the water. Right here, dipping my finger in water and just going bloop, 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 bloop. Right? Bloop, bloop. And so now that's wet. That gets a chill for a second or two while I prep the handle. So the handle also needs some scoring and some thingy-majigging. So I score, 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 score. Now this handle's still a little bit wet, so I could probably almost get away without adding water or scoring. And then, dun, 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 there we go. So now we did this before, right? With our slab cups, we attach handle. And it's the same kind of thing, but I'm showing you because you may have forgotten. And we need to do it better because you are better. So you will be judged a little bit more harshly on these handles than you would your cup handles because you've already done it a few times, right? So here, wet, scored, and wet, scored, and wet. And luckily I have my pot this way, right? So I could just set the handle on here for a second, right? And it's okay. That's important that I have it horizontal. Like I couldn't let go of it right now if it was standing vertically, right? So now I can kind of eyeball it to make sure that it's looking good. So I want to kind of get a chance to kind of look at all the way. Now this part doesn't look good, right? The arc, but I want to mainly checking about position. Where is it on the cup overall? Does it look good? It seems to be okay. So now that I'm okay with that point of attachment, what I'm going to do is since this cup is kind of a little bit wet, if I just push down against the cup is going to collapse, so it'll get ovalized. So I'm going to push back a little bit from the inside and then push down and squiggles back and forth. It goes back and forth, right? Let's do it this way so you guys can see. Pushing back against it. And then it doesn't sometimes down correctly there, so I might have to push down here from the inside, go So that's enough for now. So it's kind of attached. And now we have to do some work on this. This looks really sad, right? So we want it to be a nice full curve. So this part here just is bending over too quickly. I want to inflate that curve. So hopefully just by doing this, I could walk this handle back. Oh, it still doesn't look right. Not enough curve on this section here. So I'm just going to lightly kind of bend this around to make it look better. Like that. Oh, that looks so much better. Right? What do you guys think? So you notice I'm turning it around to get looks at different angles at it. That makes sense to everybody? Inflate that curve a little bit. So I'm using reclaimed clay. Do not use reclaimed clay for this because that's bad, because this handle's starting to crack because it doesn't have enough plasticity, right? The reclaimed clay is short. It cracks when you bend it around. Use new clay for this because your new clay is awesome. Right? So now it's looking pretty good. I wish that this seems a little flat, so I'm just going to bring that out just a little bit. You guys see that? So it's looking okay. I'm pretty excited. And then before you really attach the bottom, just kind of make sure that it works for your fingers, or envision the fingers that are going to go in. And then this bottom is always messed up, right? So we're going to clip off this bottom by using just a needle tool and cut that bottom off. So I'm going to support it with my finger, cut that off flat. You guys see that? Just cut that off flat like that, so it flops back down. I'm just going to add some water to the inside of that face and then find the right spot for it to stick down so it's in a perfect alignment. What do I mean by perfect alignment? It needs to go right below So the sucky part is when it's off to the side, that's no good usually. So right below, right? So I'm concentrating on the right below part, right? You see that? Ooh, not quite right. Let's get this more in the middle. Oh, you see how that's right below? That's looking genius level, right? And then I just rub this back and forth, and then I could smear this downward. Let's do it to the up. Oh, God, this upper camera is awesome. So I just smear this down. Boop, 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 and that should stick it down really good. You see that? And then you want to do an all-around check, right? Make sure that, you see I'm checking all the way around, making sure that it's good from all sides. There's still some work that needs to be done. So I'm going to fix this curve a little bit. This curve is just not looking too good yet. So let's work on this just for a second, right? But now that it's attached, oh, there we go. That looks better. All right. So then the last thing we need to do is there's all this extra gooiness that came out, right? We need to just make sure that the handle is still attached really good. And then I could take a sponge or a brush and clean up the edges. So you can just get a little brush, make sure there's no clay or glaze on it, and then it's dry brush will work. And then if you look here, you can see some of that gooiness squirted out the side, right? So I want to just clean up that gooiness because it's really hard to get your finger in there to clean those areas up. And this handle's a little bit soft, so I end up moving some clay around by mistake. And then I like getting in up here and cleaning up that gooiness. If there's lots of gooiness down here, you do the same. Oh, I forgot to do this part. Dip my finger in and go whoop, 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 whoop. Boy, I kind of messed it up again, didn't I? So what I'm going to do is let this handle stiffen up a little bit because it's still a little bit wet. And then I'm going to finish the shape, right? And then the last thing we do, of course, is write our name on the bottom again. Oh, I already did it. Good. So we're good. And then what I want to do is, since I added clay to this, right? Softer clay to drier clay, I need to leave this wrapped up at least 24 hours before I put it on the shelf to be bisque fired. That makes sense to everybody? Any questions about that? Handles attaching, and then we don't want to mess this attachment area up too much.